Have you ever thought about all the people in rural communities who have skills and talents but just can't seem to find the right opportunities?
Yeah, absolutely. I've heard that a lot. That sense of frustration when abilities don't quite line up with the available jobs.
Yeah, like maybe you know someone like that, or maybe you've even wondered yourself how things work economically in those areas.
Yeah, exactly. What drives those economies?
Well, that's what we're diving deep into today. We're looking at this new platform, the Rural Skills Marketplace, and how it's trying to change things.
Right, this really interesting platform.
Yeah, and it's not just your typical job board.
Right, it's more than that.
It's like a really smart system that's designed to connect rural workers with the right training based on what the local job market actually needs right now.
Oh, so it's like anticipating those needs and then connecting people with the resources.
Exactly. And the cool part is that it's not just about formal degrees or qualifications. It also recognizes and validates those skills people learn through experience, like hands-on stuff or family traditions.
Oh, wow. That's really smart.
Yeah, and what makes it even more interesting is that it was built using this thing called the EON AI-powered entrepreneur guide.
The EON guide.
Yeah, so it suggests that, someone really thought this through using a strategic, data-driven approach to build it from the ground up.
Interesting. I'm curious to hear more about how that guide works.
Me too. But first, let's focus on what this marketplace is trying to solve. What's the core problem here?
Well, the main issue is that there's this big disconnect. You see, about 70% of young people in rural areas, even if they get training, end up in fields where there just aren't enough jobs locally.
Wow, 70%.
Yeah, so it's this mismatch between what's being taught and what those local economies actually need.
So, they're learning skills that aren't really applicable in their own communities?
Right, and there are a few reasons for that. Like, sometimes the curriculum at schools doesn't keep up with changes in the job market, or maybe there's this focus on traditional industries that are shrinking, or maybe just not enough awareness of new emerging opportunities, especially in the digital world.
Right, and it's not just about having the right degree or certificate, right?
No, absolutely not.
I mean, think about all the skills people in rural areas have learned through experience.
Like practical skills.
Yeah, practical skills, things passed down through families, running small businesses, that kind of stuff. Those are super valuable abilities, but they don't always come with a piece of paper.
Totally. And traditional hiring processes, they often miss that.
Yeah.
They don't always recognize the value of those informal skills.
Exactly. And to add to that, if you compare rural areas to cities, you see this huge gap in access to training programs that actually connect people with industries.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, rural areas have about 80% fewer of those programs, so it puts them at a big disadvantage when the job market changes.
So that's where this rural skills marketplace comes in, right?
Right, that's where it comes in. So how does this platform actually bridge that gap, connecting those overlooked skills with the actual job demands?
Okay, so at its core, the platform takes those comprehensive skills profiles of rural workers that includes their formal qualifications and any validated informal expertise and matches them with the real-time needs of the job market in their specific geographic area.
Oh, so it's hyper-local.
Yeah, it's all about creating a more efficient and responsive local employment ecosystem.
That's really cool. And remember how we mentioned this EON AI-powered entrepreneur guide?
Uh-huh.
What exactly is that guide, and how did it help shape this marketplace?
So think of the EON AI-powered entrepreneur guide as this comprehensive toolkit, a digital one, for building a business. It takes an entrepreneur through an 8-step journey using AI-driven insights and immersive learning. It basically helps them refine their purpose, identify problems, validate their ideas, and develop a concrete business plan.
So AI is like a partner throughout the process.
Exactly. And the really interesting thing is the entrepreneur behind the rural skills marketplace, they specifically said that the guide's systematic approach helped them go from just generally understanding the challenges facing rural workers to creating a very detailed practical solution.
So it took them from a big picture view to a really focused, actionable plan.
Yeah, and here's a direct quote from them. The platform's systematic approach helped me navigate from identifying the precise problems facing rural workers to developing a comprehensive marketplace that benefits all stakeholders. It helps rural communities unlock their existing talent while creating sustainable economic opportunities.
Powerful words, right? It really emphasizes the intentionality behind it.
For sure.
It wasn't just about, throwing a platform together. It was about systematically solving a specific problem.
Right.
So can you walk us through some of those key steps from the EON Entrepreneur Guide that led to this marketplace?
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
the first step was all about identifying core purpose. The entrepreneur used the guide to zero in on their motivations, and they found strong alignment, like a 9 out of 10 rating across skill development, rural employment, and vocational training.
So they were really passionate about all those areas.
Yeah, and that gave them a clear direction.
Makes sense. What was next?
The next crucial step was uncovering systemic problems. Here, the guide's problem identification engine, it really helped validate those key issues we've been talking about.
The ones we talked about earlier.
Yeah, exactly. It likely provided data and insights confirming that 70% of rural youth were training in fields with limited job prospects, that those informal skills were being overlooked, and that there was a serious lack of industry-connected training in rural areas. So it wasn't just anecdotal. The guide actually provided evidence to back it up.
That's really powerful. So they had a clear understanding of the problem backed by data. What came after that?
So once they knew the problems, it was time to see if there was actually a viable way forward. That's the validating market viability stage. And it involves a deep feasibility analysis.
Okay, so making sure this whole thing could actually work.
Right. They looked at things like market demand, which got a really high score, 9 out of 10, meaning there was strong interest from potential users and stakeholders. The overall viability was rated at 8 out of 10, acknowledging that there might be some logistical or technical challenges, but that they could be overcome.
So overall positive signs.
Definitely. And importantly, the guide also helped identify a multi-sided revenue model, which is essential for making the platform sustainable in the long run.
So they figured out how to make it financially viable too.
Exactly. And then came the really exciting part, actually designing and building the marketplace. That's the meta. Developing an integrated solution stage. The guide's solution generation tools, they were key in creating a platform that could serve multiple groups effectively.
Multiple groups meaning?
Meaning rural workers, employers, and training providers. It meant creating a dynamic system to match skills with available jobs, coming up with ways to assess and validate those informally learned skills, designing pathways to relevant training based on local needs, and implementing a system for employers to verify the qualifications of potential hires.
Wow, a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, but all working together.
So let's break down how this works for each group. First, what are the advantages for the rural workers themselves?
Okay, so for rural workers, the platform has several key benefits. The first one is skills mapping. This lets individuals really identify and document all their skills, regardless of where they came from, formal education, work experience, or even just learning things on their own.
So it's like a comprehensive skills inventory.
Exactly. And then there are digital credentials, which provide verified documentation of those skills, creating this portable and trustworthy record of their abilities.
Oh, that's smart, so they can easily share their qualifications with potential employers.
Exactly. Then there's market-aligned training. This feature recommends courses and programs that directly match the jobs available in their local area.
So it's not just random training, it's super targeted to what's actually needed.
Right. And finally, there's job matching, which provides personalized job suggestions based on their verified skills and the current needs of local employers.
So it's like a matchmaking service for jobs.
Exactly. It helps those workers showcase their full range of abilities.
Really cool. Now, what about the businesses and organizations in rural areas that are looking to hire? How does the platform help them?
So for employers, the platform gives them access to what are called verified talent pools. That means they can connect with candidates whose skills have already been checked and validated.
So it takes some of the guesswork out of hiring.
Yeah, for sure. And then there's geographic targeting, which lets them focus their recruitment efforts on people specifically within nearby rural communities.
That makes sense. Keep those jobs local.
Exactly. It helps those local economies. And then there's skills-based matching, ensuring a tighter fit between the job requirements and the documented abilities of potential hires.
Oh, so it helps prevent those situations where someone is hired for a job they're not really qualified for.
Exactly. And because of that, there's reduced hiring risk. The platform's verification system gives employers more confidence in the qualifications of the candidates.
So it streamlines the hiring process, making it more efficient and hopefully leading to better matches.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about rural workers and employers. What about the training providers like colleges, vocational schools, and other educational institutions? Where do they fit in?
So training providers actually benefit a lot from the rural skills marketplace. It gives them something called market intelligence.
Market intelligence?
Yeah, basically it provides them with data on the specific skills that are in high demand by those local employers.
Oh, so they can tailor their programs to match those needs?
Exactly. It also helps with student acquisition, connecting them with people who are actively looking to gain those in-demand skills.
So they have a pool of motivated learners ready to go.
Exactly. And there's outcome tracking, which lets them see how their graduates are doing in the job market.
So they can demonstrate the value of their programs.
Yes. And finally, it fosters employer partnerships, directly connecting them with businesses seeking graduates with specific skill sets.
Creating a direct pipeline from education to employment.
Exactly. It's a win-win for everyone.
It really does seem like a system designed to benefit the entire community. But for a platform like this to truly make a difference, it needs to be financially sustainable in the long run, right?
Oh, for sure.
So what's the business model for the rural skills marketplace? How does it make money?
Well, they use a multi-sided revenue model, which is common for platforms that cater to different user groups. This includes employer recruitment fees, where employers pay for extra access to the talent pool and those advanced matching features. Then there are training provider partnerships, where institutions might pay for premium listings on the platform or for accreditation services. They also have premium verification services for workers who want a really in-depth validation of their skills. And lastly, there are data insights packages, which provide anonymized labor market data to organizations that want to understand those broader trends.
So they've got multiple streams of income, which is smart. And what about growth and expansion? Do they have a plan to scale this up?
Yeah, they have a really clear growth plan broken into phases. So they're starting with a pilot launch in 2 districts, aiming to bring on 20 employers and 5 training partners. Within the first 18 months, they want to expand to 10 districts, reaching 100 employers and 20 training partners.
That's quite a jump.
Yeah, and within 24 months, they're aiming for 2,000 successful job placements and 5,000 training enrollments. The next phase, within 30 months, involves developing those institutional data partnerships and those premium services with the ultimate goal of statewide coverage within 36 months.
Wow, that's ambitious.
Yeah, it is, but it's also very structured. They're aiming to have 50,000 workers and 500 employers on board by then.
Now we have to talk about the elephant in the room, right?
What's that?
One of the challenges in rural areas is that the technology infrastructure isn't always the best.
Right, that's a really important point.
So how does this marketplace address those limitations?
They've made some really clever technical adaptations for rural areas. First off, they've got offline functionality.
What does that mean?
It means that they use a progressive web app design so users can access key features even when they have a spotty internet connection or no internet at all.
Oh, that's so important.
Yeah. And they've also implemented low bandwidth optimization, which minimizes data usage, because we all know internet speeds can be slower in those areas.
Smart.
And the platform is designed with a mobile-first interface, because smartphones are often the primary way people access the internet in these communities.
Makes sense.
They even included voice navigation to help people who might have limited literacy or just prefer using their voice.
Oh, that's really inclusive.
Yeah, and they use visual communication, like clear icons and graphics, to make it easier for people to understand.
So they've really thought about accessibility.
Yeah, they've put a lot of effort into making sure the platform works for everyone, regardless of their tech situation.
Okay, let's go back to the EON AI-powered entrepreneur guide for a second.
Okay.
You said it guides users through 8 steps, right? What else makes this guide unique besides the steps we've already talked about?
I think what's really cool is how AI is integrated into each step. So it's not just a static framework. The AI actually analyzes what the user inputs, gives personalized feedback, suggests resources, and even helps identify potential problems before they happen.
So it's constantly learning and adapting to the user's needs.
Yeah, exactly. And the integration with EON Reality's XR capabilities is another big plus.
XR, meaning?
Extended reality. It means that users can actually access immersive learning experiences, like virtual reality simulations. They can use those simulations to better understand complex concepts or even practice new skills in a safe environment.
Wow, so it's like hands-on learning, even for something like entrepreneurship.
Exactly. And the guide is designed to be flexible and adapt to the entrepreneur's individual journey.
So it's very personalized, not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing.
Right.
You know, Dan Lajerskar from EON Reality had some interesting thoughts about the rural skills marketplace and the entrepreneur guide.
Oh, yeah, he did.
What did he say?
He talked about how powerful it is to combine purpose-driven entrepreneurship with those AI-enhanced insights. And he said, and I quote, "The rural skills marketplace exemplifies the power of purpose-driven entrepreneurship guided by AI-enhanced insights. By systematically analyzing complex employment ecosystems and developing targeted solutions, this platform demonstrates how the EON AI-powered Entrepreneur Guide can help create businesses that address significant social challenges while maintaining commercial viability. We're particularly impressed by how this marketplace creates value for multiple stakeholders while focusing on underserved rural communities.
Wow, he really gets it right.
Yeah,
It's not just about profits, it's about using technology to address real social issues in a way that lasts.
absolutely.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what stands out to you as the most impressive aspect of this rural skills marketplace?
What I find really fascinating is how direct the solution is.
Mm.
It's not about just generally tackling unemployment. It's about pinpoint those skills that exist within a specific community, understanding the real needs of the local job market, and then building that clear pathway to connect the two.
So a very targeted and practical approach.
Exactly.
It makes you think, right?
It does.
If this kind of AI-driven platform can be so effective in a rural context, what other areas could benefit from this kind of innovation? Areas where skills and opportunities aren't lining up.
Yeah, it's a great question. How can we use technology to find and unlock those hidden pools of talent that might be getting overlooked in other sectors of the economy?
Absolutely. Now, for those of you who want to learn more, we've got some resources for you. You can find the Rural Skills Marketplace Entrepreneurial Journey Summary and the EON Entrepreneur Guide Rural Skills Marketplace presentation as downloads. We'll put links in the show notes.
You can also check out our other discussions and the EON XR Spoken blog for more on this topic.
Those resources provide a more detailed look at the platform, the process behind it, and the tech that makes it all work.
Yeah, and I encourage everyone to dive in.
So as we end, here's a thought to ponder. What other areas are ripe for disruption, where skills and opportunities are misaligned? And how can we use technology to rethink how we value different kinds of expertise in our increasingly connected world?
It's a question worth exploring.
It is.